on Daily Bread once again. I don't take that lightly. I pray that I use the Lord's words and not my own, and we're all edified by this class. So we're going to be talking about addiction, but before we get started, I want to open up with a little history, and we're going to go over a little history about Issachar, all right? And not only is it history, but you're going to learn, well, I'll wait till we get to that point. But we're going to open up a little bit of history right now, and we're going to learn about the Result program. So let's pull up that first article. So we're going to have a little history first, and then we're going to get into the class. Result program. Go ahead, officer. Go ahead and read that.
Go ahead and blow it up a little more. 1942 Result program.
Now, hold on before you start. So I want y'all to look at that year, 1942. That year is a lie. That's the year in which they named the program, but as we go through this history right here, you're going to find out they actually started this way before then. All right, so that timeline or that initial year of 1942 is not true, and we're going to go through that. You'll see. Go ahead and read.
An executive order called the Mexican Farm Labor Program established the Result program in 1942. This series of diplomatic accords between Mexico and the United States permitted millions of Mexican men to work legally in the United States on short-term labor contracts.
But now in today's time, they don't want you here. They call you illegals, they call you aliens, but when they need you, they know how to open up that border then. So they was doing this earlier, I'll give you the dates in a second. Go ahead and read.
These agreements addressed a national agricultural labor shortage during World War II. In implicity, they redressed previous Depression-era deportations and reparations that unjustly targeted Mexican Americans who were U.S. citizens. Upon its termination in 1964, the Result program had brought more than 4 million Barcetos arms to work in U.S. agriculture and on railroads.
Now look at that. It said it ended in 1964. So this wasn't, and you're going to see, actually I'm going to tell you, it started, when we get to the timeline, it actually started in, I want to say around 1914 is what they started saying it actually started. Go ahead and read the next one, next paragraph.
During World War II, the U.S. sought labor from millions of Barcetos who would return to their country of origin after their work permit expired. El Paso, Texas, the U.S. point of entry from Ciudad Juarez, served as a recruitment center for the program, which the U.S. Agriculture Department and independent farmer associations administered with the Farm Bureau managing English language contracts. The United States, nonetheless, discrimination continued and Barcetos experienced surcharges for room and board, deducted pay, and exposure to deadly chemicals.
What was they exposed to?
To exposure to deadly chemicals.
They exposed them on purpose to deadly chemicals. Now, let's scroll up. I want you to get this timeline. So you see how it says the Result program 1942? Scroll up a little bit. Let's go to the timeline. Let's see if it was actually 1942. No, the other way. Right there. That's the timeline I want. Start with the first one.
Timeline, November 20th, 1910 through 1924. The Mexican Revolution creates political, economic, and social unrest.
So this was happening in Mexico, right? The unrest. Now look at the next timeline right there.
July 28th, 1914 through 1919. A labor shortage during World War I causes U.S. dependence on Mexican agricultural workers.
Now earlier it said during World War II. 1942. So you see this actually started around 1914. And why? Because there was a labor shortage. They needed more workers. So notice how Esau, when they need something, they'll open up that border. As soon as they don't need you, then they'll close that border and call you all other type of names, whether it's alien, illegal, so forth and so on, right? But when they need you, when there was a shortage, they open up that border for you. So, but I want you to pay attention to that last part where it says exposure to deadly chemicals. Let's pull up the next thing. Should be the book, right? Pull the book up. That should be next in order. Give us a second, y'all. We're going to pull this. So I want you guys, we're going to be pulling a few things out of this book right here. It's called Ringside Seat to the Revolution. An underground cultural history of El Paso and Juarez, 1893 to 1923. All right, that El Paso is in Texas. All right, so inside of this book, and it was by David Dorado Romo. All right. So I want you guys, we're going to read just the highlighted part inside this book. This is on page 223. Go ahead, officer.
El Paso, Juarez, Bath riots. Just the highlights?
Yeah, just the highlights.
That took place on the border in 1917.
So this took place in 1917 on the border. Now, this is the start of the Baseto program, which they said only started in 1942, which is a lie. It actually started way before then. So just understand the climate right now. The U.S. need workers because they do not have enough workers due to World War I, and this is going to be leading into World War II. So they're asking, begging Issachar to come over here to work in the fields. Go ahead and read this. This is an account of one of our sisters.
My great aunt, Adela Dorado, shared her memories with us about her experiences as a young woman during the Mexican Revolution. She recalled that American authorities regularly forced her and all other working class Mexicans to take a bath and be sprayed with pesticides at the Santa Fe Bridge whenever they needed to cross into the United States.
So before they allowed them to cross into the United States, they would strip them down, make them what they say, take a bath. But we're going to find out what they was bathing them in. Read on.
My great aunt, who worked as a maid in El Paso during the Revolution, told us she felt humiliated for being treated as a dirty Mexican. She related how on one occasion the U.S. Customs officials put her clothes and shoes through a large secadora dryer.
Secadora, which is a dryer. I'm going to show you pictures of that.
And her shoes melted.
They said they were doing this to disinfect their clothes, right, before they can cross the border. So they would use the term dirty Mexicans, right? And then you would have to go through this. We're going to show you in a second. They'd have to go through these different rooms before they then finally allow them to go into the U.S. just to work in the fields. Scroll down to read the bottom part.
These records point to the connection between the U.S. Customs disinfection facilities in El Paso, Juarez, and the 20s, and the disinfection Carmen.
That's a German word, so I want y'all to pay attention to that. That's a German word, and you're going to find out why. Go ahead and read.
Disinfection chambers in Nazi Germany. The documents show that beginning in the 1920s, U.S. officials at the Santa Fe Bridge deloused and sprayed the clothes of Mexicans crossing into the U.S. with Zyklon B.
Remember that word, Zyklon B. They were spraying them. This is part of the bath process, the cleaning process with Zyklon B. Go ahead and read on.
The fumigation was carried out in an area of the building that American officials called anonymously enough, the gas chambers.
What they call it?
The gas chambers.
So they would put you through the gas chambers. Remember the year now, right? This is 1917. Remember the year. Read on.
I discovered an article written in a German scientific journal written in 1937.
And this was even confirmed in 1937. There was an article written in Germany, in German. And let's see what that article is talking about. It's going to talk a little bit about this. Read.
Which specifically praised the El Paso method of fumigating Mexican immigrants with Zyklon B. At the start of World War II, the Nazis adopted Zyklon B as a fumigation agent at German borders crossing and concentration camps.
So what was they doing? What did they do? They tested out what they could do on Issachar and then brought that, and that's what they used for Amalek during World War II, right, during the concentration camps. They first started that on Issachar. The Germans looked at that and said, you know what, we can do this, and we can use this to kill off, Amalek and things like that. So they first started that on Issachar. So let's read a little bit about Zyklon B, right? So this is what they would spray you with, bathe you with as you came in here. It didn't matter if you was a woman, if you was a man, it did not matter. Zyklon B. Let's read a little bit about this.
Zyklon B. Germany. Translated, here, move it up a little bit. There you go. Zyklon B was the trade name of a cyanide-based pesticide invented in Germany in the early 1920s.
Now stop. Look at that. See how they changed this around? Now, it is a cyanide-based, which is poison. They said it's invented in Germany. How could this be invented in Germany in 1920s when they was using this on Issachar in 1917? That's just the earliest account. Probably before then. But see how they changing it around? Read on.
It consists of hydrogen cyanide, prussic acid, as well as cautionary eye irritant and one of several absorbents such as
diatomaceous earth.
The product is notorious.
You ain't even try that word, huh?
Diatomaceous earth.
All right, go ahead.
The product is notorious for its use by Nazi Germany.
Now, how's it going to be notorious for them when it started off on Issachar over here? They was doing this. Now, notice it started in 1917. And remember, it ended what? That it said, 62, 64? Right? That's well past World War II, and they was still using it. I'm going to show you proof of that. Watch, read on.
During the Holocaust, to murder approximately 1.1 million people in gas chambers installed at Auschwitz, Birkenau, Majdanek, and other extermination camps.
Bro, you got to work on your German, man.
Yeah, that's
you
crazy.
You got to work on your German, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, scroll on down. I think that might be all I want out of that. Did I want more? Okay, keep reading.
Hydrogen cyanide, a poisonous gas that interferes with the cellular respiration.
So look, that Zyklon B it destroys your respiration. You struggling over there, officer. You struggling. It's early, but come on now.
Yes, sir.
Stay in the spirit.
Yes, sir.
Right, so it interferes with cellular respiration, right? Read on.
Was first used as a pesticide in California in the 1880s.
So now it started actually in the 1880s using it as a pesticide. And this is what they were spraying Issachar with. All right, read on.
Research at Bakersfield of Germany led to the development of Zyklon.
I think that's all I want on that. Okay, we'll stop there, right? And let's go to the next thing. So, IT. You got your mouse? Okay, good. So this is where Issachar would come in at, right at the front through the porch. This is the opening at the border, all right? Now this, if you look at, I should have got this too, but if you look at how they had different diagrams for concentration camps, they followed this blueprint right here. So let's look at what would happen. You have lines of Issachar outside right here trying to come across the border. Why? Because there was unrest. Remember, there was unrest in Mexico at this time, political unrest. This is right after the Mexican Revolution. So you had all this stuff, no jobs, lack of food. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to come over to America where they say, look, we got jobs for you, but in order for you to get these jobs and make this money, you're going to have to go through this cleaning process, this bathing process. So Issachar would be lined up out here, right? Zebulon was in there too. And then they would go through either left or right side. So you go through that door or that door, and you would go to the undressing room. There they would strip you down naked, right? Sound familiar? They would strip you down naked. Then you would go through that door, remember left or right side, and then you got to the right of that attendants right there, right in that room, yes. So if there's anything more that they wanted to look at, they would put you through that room right there and do a further search on you, so forth and so on. Then once you finally met their approval, stripped naked, then they would take you to the disinfectant room. All right, you see that? Look how big the disinfectant room is compared to all the other rooms. It stretches all the way there. After the disinfectant room, this is where they would spray you with all the chemicals, right? Zyklon B, right? And one thing about this, they didn't keep record of how many people they killed with this. Whether it was women, men, teenagers, children, it didn't matter. They didn't keep records of that. They didn't care. They was using y'all just for your service. So once you go to the disinfectant room, scroll up. Then you go to the right or left, depending on what side you was on. Then you go to the dressing room, right? That's when you put on your clothes or their clothes after they disinfected your clothes. And we're going to show you how they disinfected your clothes. And then after you go through that, then you are then finally allowed to go out there and work in their fields for low wages, long hours. And then guess what? When you went back, you had to do the same thing every time you came over the border to go to work. All right? Which the Nazis used the same diagram for the most part on how they did their concentration camps. They learned this. They studied this and said, you know what? We can make this better. All right, let's go to the next image. This is in the same book. This is like page 224. This is page 224. This is the undressing room right here, right? Being inspected. Remember that inspected room? See that? Strip you down naked, inspect you to see if you're clean enough to come across the border. All right, you see this? Look at this. This is before World War II. This is what they was doing for years. They did this for decades before World War II popped off. They was doing this all the way up to the 1960s. Give me the next image. Look at that. Remember the respiratory issues that you would get with Zyklon B? Look at that. Spraying it in the face, the hair, everything. You see that? That's poison. How many people you think died through that right there? That's unrecorded, undocumented. Breathing that in. That's literally poison. Give me the next image. That's what they would do to your clothes right there. So if you can see, they would put your clothes in that big bin, and they would roll that bin into the secadora, I think that's how you say it, which is basically a big dryer. Now, what happened, one of the accounts was one of the sisters, what she said was, at that time, they were very poor, so they didn't have a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes. So that dryer was basically burning their clothes and shoes. So she made an account that her shoes actually melted in there. So she didn't have those shoes to wear when that came out. She had to work it on, with her bare feet. And that's what they would do right there, put your clothes through there. This is part of the bathing process, right? Cleaning your clothes just to come across the border. Just to come across the border. Let's go back to the book. I want to read this, just that box in the center. This is page 2. I have the book right here. This is page 226, but let me make sure. It
shows 225.
Oh, 225. Okay, this is page 225. Go ahead and read that right there. So this was, now they showed the picture of men. Now Time Magazine, there was other articles, I didn't want to, go too long on this. Time Magazine actually took pictures of this, and they never released the pictures in their magazine, but they came out not too long ago. And, of course it didn't come out because it was going to make them look too bad at what was going on and what was still going on up into the 60s. Go ahead and read that.
Stories that American soldiers had photographed the women when they were stripped for their baths were said to have been circulated among the ignorant class in Juarez.
Yeah, this is what Esau was doing. The women, they would strip the women down and seeing that those sisters looked better than their wives and was taking pictures and like, look at this, and passing them around like it's, nothing, just degrading them. They didn't give a damn. That's what they was doing. Taking pictures of them. Can you just imagine you trying to get a job and you trying to work and you got to get stripped naked and they taking pictures of you and you know what they doing with those pictures, and there's nothing you can do about it. Why? Because you trying to feed your family. Give me the next. No. Let's go to some scriptures now. Let's go. Actually, you know what? Let's go to the next thing. So this was all the way up until that last picture. Can you throw back to the pictures one more time? That one, no, the one where they were spraying it. That was actually, that picture there was taken in 1959. Right? That right there was taken in 1959. The other one they had where we showed, that was in the 20s. But that was taken in 1959. It's not that long ago. Now, we was at a Juneteenth event. You can take that off now. Last Sabbath day, we was at a Juneteenth event here in Bakersfield. And right next to us, we had a booth. And right next to us was a couple of Issachar sisters. And they was there, passing out literature and everything. And they said, hey, will you help us? We trying to ban this and, and start a movement to get this chemical banned. We was like, what's that? So they handed us this flyer or this card, or if you will. And it was like, support AB 1963. Ban paraquat. So, and this is by the Dolores Horta Foundation. So I never heard of paraquat before. So I was like, ban that, what is that? So do a little research, right? And let's go ahead and pull up, or let's go to the next thing. Watch this. Ban paraquat. So this was last week. I got that flyer from them at this Juneteenth event. Let's read a little bit about paraquat. Go ahead.
Earth Justice. This weed killer is linked to Parkinson's.
To what?
To Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, you know, the thing that have you all shaky and stuff like that? Read on.
Why isn't it banned yet?
Why isn't this banned yet? What is paraquat? What are they using it for? Read that.
Paraquat damages farm workers.
Damages who?
Farm workers.
Oh, okay. Read.
Respiratory system.
Oh, this sounds like something else we just read about in the early 1900s. Read on.
Their kidneys and their eyes. Help us urge the EPA to ban it.
Now, the EPA is the Environment Protection Agency, right? I think it's Environment Protection Agency. That's the United States EPA. Okay, read down. Let's read about paraquat. Go start right there. Is it deadly? Start there.
February 27th of 2024. Paraquat is a deadly herbicide that has been linked to Parkinson's disease in farm workers and agricultural communities. It's already been banned in more than 50 countries.
Now listen, paraquat has been banned already in 50 different countries at the time of this article. Read.
But in the U.S.,
paraquat, which is supposed to be a, first world country and about human rights and all that type of stuff and everything, right? Look what it says in the U.S.
Paraquat is still widely sprayed on farms despite staggering evidence that it harms people's neurological functionings.
Which that leads to Parkinson's and different things like that. Now, who do you think is working in them farms today? You think Esau's working in his own farms? Nah, he's still getting what? He's still opening up the border to let Issachar in here, Zebulon, come in here and work in the fields, and then they can go right back home, on those temporary work visas and things like that, right? So they can work in the farms, in the fields. Read on.
On behalf of farm worker, public health, and environmental organizations, Earth Justice sued the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in 2021 for allowing paraquat to remain on the market despite strong scientific evidence of the harm it causes.
So listen, they was sued in 2021. You think they stopped? They still using that today. They sued and still using it knowing the dangers of that chemical. They don't care. Read on.
In response, the EPA agreed.
In response to the suit, the EPA agreed what?
To take another look at the decision.
Just to take a look at it. Hey, should we stop doing this or not? But they haven't stopped. How do we know? You can go ahead and, no, keep reading. Watch this. Keep reading.
The data is quite clear. Paraquat damages farm workers' respiratory system, their kidneys, and their eyes.
It says the damages are clear that this chemical is doing that to Issachar. Read.
Which the EPA concedes. A National Institutes of Health study found that workers who have used it are 2.5 times more likely to develop Parkinson's.
That's 2.5 times, not 2.5, 2.5 times more likely to develop Parkinson's. Think about that. 2.5 times more likely to develop Parkinson's by this chemical right here. Read on.
And a study published earlier this year found that people who live near the fields where paraquat is sprayed.
So listen, that right there, I'm going to show you why that hits heavy for me right there. It says that, read that last part again.
Studies published earlier this year found that people who live near the fields where paraquat is sprayed also experience increased Parkinson's disease risk.
So you don't have to actually be working in the field. You just got to be near it. Right? You got to be near because how they deliver this, they drop it down right in planes and stuff, fly over. You think that just falls just on the crops only? No, it spreads in the atmosphere. It goes over. So if you live near it, especially if you live like in a valley where where the air's bad and it traps all the air in there, it's going to affect everybody in that area. Read on.
Yet the EPA.
So even with all this evidence, the EPA what?
Reauthorized the widespread use of paraquat without addressing its neurological risk.
In other words, we don't give a damn. We making money out these fields. It is what it is. And we're not going to stop because how's the government going to tell the government to stop doing something? Nah, it don't matter. They ain't even bringing this. We got to beg for them to stop using this. And look at this. Last thing before we get to some scriptures. This, I showed you the flyer that they gave us. This is the backside of the flyer. Watch this right here.
Dear Senator Hurtado, in support of the Dolores Horta Foundation, I urge you to support AB 1963 to ban the sale and use of paraquat, a toxic chemical leaked to Parkinson's disease and cancer in our hardworking farm workers in rural communities.
Now watch this right here. Read this.
Between 2017 and 2022.
So look, this is not even counting the last 2 years. This is just 17 to 22, 5 years, but we still got 23 and 24. They're still using it, right? We're trying to get it. They're trying to get it banned. Look how much was used during that time period.
5 million pounds of paraquat were sprayed in California with 1 million pounds.
With 1 million pounds right here specifically, right? 1 million pounds where?
In Kern County alone.
Bakersfield, where we live at, Bakersfield, California, is in Kern County. So in my county in which I live, they sprayed 1 million pounds of that poison since 2017 to 22, not counting what they did in 23 and 24. And they're still using it today. That's why they're trying to get it banned. You see how this devil, let me calm down. You see how, you see the things that they did to us in the past, they continue to do over and over again and get away with it because they frame laws. They can do what they want to do. 1 million pounds of that poison been sprayed in my county in which I live. Let's go to some scriptures now. Let's go to Genesis 49, 14 and 15.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 14. Issachar is a strong ass.
Now, Issachar is very, very strong because you guys survived that poison. It took out, well, they say 6 million Amalek Jewish people died during the Holocaust. But just imagine how many of Issachar died going through that Zyklon B right there in the early 1900s, all the way to the 1960s. Imagine, they didn't keep record of that. Issachar is very, very strong. They survived that. Issachar is a strong ass. Read on.
Couching down between two burdens.
You know those two burdens? You could stay here in Mexico where there's no jobs, civil unrest, political unrest, or you can try to go to America to find a better life. But if you go over there, they're going to poison half of you to death, damn near, through Zyklon B and paraquat today, right? So you crouching down between these two burdens. Which direction am I going to go to? Low wages, a lot of hours, crime, or if I stay back here, it's crime, unrest. Either way, I'm doomed. Either way, I got these two burdens, but I gotta choose one. Read on.
Verse 15. And he saw that rest was good.
All that hard-ass labor and poison that y'all had to endure, yeah, rest is good when you get a chance to get a little rest.
And the land, that it was pleasant.
And Mexico, I've been there. It's a beautiful land. It's just undeveloped. Hasn't been no resources poured into it. Y'all have a beautiful land over there, but the beautiful parts of that land, Esau runs that, you know. Let's go to the next scripture. But Issachar is very, 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 very strong. You're able to endure that. Let's go to Daniel 9. Say what? Yeah, finish it out. Finish it out. Sorry.
And bowed his shoulders to bear, and became a servant unto tribute.
Yeah, y'all become their servant for a few dollars for low wages. Y'all been working in these fields getting poisoned for low wages all these hours, and as soon as they done using you, then they want to say you're alien and illegal. Get out of here. We don't need you no more. Quit crossing the border. You know, I don't want to go too long on this. I got a couple more scriptures on here before we get into the class. But I was in Mexico like a couple weeks ago in Tijuana with Captain Abiel, and I didn't post a picture, but I don't know how they do this. It's like an optical illusion. When you on the San Diego side, you don't really see the wall, the border, you know, until you cross it. But it's like when you're in San Diego, you don't see the wall. But the minute you cross over the border and then you look back over, you see this big wall. And it's like, where'd that wall come from? I didn't see it on the San Diego. I don't know. It's like optical illusion. And then not only that, the minute you step over into TJ, the smell, it smells terrible. It's like, how it smell normal right here, then just simply a few steps over, it stinks. It's just crazy how that is. Let's go to Daniel 9. Daniel 9 and 11 and 12.
The book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 11. Yea, All Israel have transgressed thy law.
That's all. Northern kingdom, southern kingdom, we all have transgressed the laws of God. Read.
Even by departing,
Uh-huh.
that they might not obey thy voice.
You know, we had times where we wanted to obey the Lord's voice, but eventually we continued to fall over and over again and did our own thing. Idolatry, serving other gods, so forth and so on. Read on.
Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
The Lord said, because we transgressed him, this curse is going to be poured upon us. Read on.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
So the Lord prophesied and told us, because y'all transgressed, y'all going to be cursed. So Issachar, don't let nobody tell you that you're not an Israelite. Look what you had to go through. That's just that's a small part of your history. And you're still going through it today. Read on.
And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil.
It's a great evil to simply want to provide for your family, but in order to do that, you got to go through a poisonous bathing process that's killing you off, and then your wife got to go through, your wife and your sisters and your daughters got to go through the same thing, right? That's a great, great evil. You have to be evil to sit there and say, listen, I'm going to try this pesticide and chemicals, and I'm just going to spray them all in the face and body and make them strip down naked just to come over here to work in the fields? Read.
For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem.
You see that? Under all of earth, nothing has been done as has been done to us. So they can say 6 million Amalek died in concentration camps, but there's no telling how many of y'all died just in this process. And still today, those who getting sprayed with that paraquat, it's no telling the damage that's causing internally right now that you guys are going to see the effects of 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, right? They're still killing y'all slowly with that and poisoning the atmosphere of all those around that area as well, not just those in the fields. And what do you think happens to when they go home with all that chemical on them, when they go get their children from school or go home to their wives and children? What do you think? You think that chemical just disappears? No, it's going to spread in the house too as well. All right, so under all this earth, nothing has been done like it's been done to us. So don't let nobody tell you that they had it worse or harder than you. Hell no. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28:50.
The book of Deuteronomy 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Yeah, they didn't give a damn what that chemical was doing to you. If it killed you and left your wife as a widow and your children, they didn't care about that. Or if you brought it home to your family, they didn't care then, they don't care now. So Issachar, you are the Israelites. Don't let nobody convince you and tell you, oh, you mixed with this, or you're Japhet, or this, that. No, you're an Israelite.
That's right.
Now that you know this, wake up your brothers and sisters, all right? That's our history part. Now we're going to get into the class. All right, we're going to talk about addiction. Addiction. Now, when you think of addiction, what do y'all think of? You can type in the comments. When you think of addiction, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of addiction? What type of addictions do you think of? Do you think of like drugs? Is that the first thing you think of? What about alcohol? Right? These are a lot of things that we think of when we talk about, weed, drugs, alcohol. We think of that when it comes to addiction, right? And the truth of the matter is there's many, many, many things that we can be addicted to and don't even know it, don't even recognize it, because it becomes part of our daily routine. And because we don't see it like directly hurt or affect us, we think it's no big deal. It's just a hobby or a habit or whatever. Well, let's learn a little bit about addictions. Let's pull up the first article. We got to find out what addiction is. Gambling, I like that. Drinking, drugs, sex, all that. All these different things. Candy, food, right? Gluttony, right? I see somebody put social media. All right, what is addiction? What is addiction? Let's read this.
Harvard Health Blog. What is addiction? September 12, 2021. Many people consider addiction to be a problem of personal weakness, initiated for self-gratification and continued because of an unwillingness or lack of sufficient willpower to stop. However, within the medical and scientific communities, the notion that pleasure-seeking exclusively drives addiction has fallen by the wayside.
So it was thought that it was just people did this just out of what's the word to use right there? Pleasure seeking, right? Just for pleasure seeking. Read on.
Clinicians and scientists alike now think that many people engage in potentially addictive activities to escape discomfort.
But actually, they find it's more common that the reason why they're addicted to these things is to escape discomfort. You know, they're not happy with a certain part of their life, or they're not happy with their life. So this right here is giving me some opportunity, some time to escape that discomfort, and I can, you know, indulge in whatever it is they're addicted to. Read on.
Both physical and emotional. People typically engage in psychoactive experiences to feel good and to feel better. The roots of addiction reside in activities associated with sensations, seeking, and self-medication.
So self-medication is what a lot of people will do to solve this issue, which is basically just feeding into their habit even more, their addiction even more. All right, so the first addiction we're going to talk about, you can take that down now. The first thing, and this is not in no particular order, right? I didn't put this in no particular order. I just wanted to go here first because I know most people, when they think of addiction, it's going to go to drugs or sex or things like that. But I want to start with an addiction that a lot of people have and don't even know it. And we're going to start with social media. I seen somebody say that in the comments, right? Somebody says social media in the comments. And when you got social media, you got, well, you know, I remember it started with, well, I ain't gonna say it necessarily started with this, but this is when I first got into social media was MySpace, right? And then you had Black Planet. You have to be old enough to remember that. Remember Black Planet? Right? You know, now you got TikTok, you got Instagram, Snapchat, different things like that. Facebook, you know. These are the things that people are, and then just also just being on the internet and stuff like that, or different chat groups and things like that. So social media. Now, are you addicted to social media? Let's look at this article real quick, and then we're going to get into some scriptures. Pull up that article. Are you addicted to social media? Where did I want to stop at? Maddie? Where did I want to stop at? Go ahead, officer. Is it, where did I want to stop at?
Blow it up a little bit.
Okay, go ahead and read that.
Smartphones, Snapchat, Instagram, and other social media technology help you stay connected. You're born with the drive to connect with others. It's good for your physical health and psychological well-being. But what if you find yourself becoming too connected to social media? There's growing evidence to suggest that some individuals can develop a dependency on social media that's not unlike an addiction to alcohol or drugs.
So understand something. Being addicted to social media is just like being addicted to alcohol and drugs. The only difference is society don't look at you or view you the same way, but it's still causing the same problems. Some people have to be on social media. They have to have this. They want to post something. They constantly go back to what they posted. How many people liked it? How many people comment on it? They get a dopamine high off that of, oh, look, I got more comments today than I did yesterday. So it's just like alcohol and it's just like drugs. Read on.
Says Paul G. Simeon, PhD. Overdependence on social media has led to symptoms typically associated with substance use disorder.
So it actually comes down, it's a disorder because you need this validation from social media and others that you'll never probably meet or see, but you just got to see what's going on with the Kardashians, what's going on with Diddy now. Question? Read on.
In fact, there are now therapeutic programs and psychiatric hospitals and behavioral health clinics across the U.S. dedicated to treating social media addiction.
Look, that's how serious this is. They got psychiatric hospitals and behavioral health clinics for this right here. So this is not something just to look at and be like, oh, well, it's no big deal ever. No, this is serious business. People who are addicted to social media. Read.
To treating social media addiction as another compulsive disorder.
It's compulsive disorder, something you do it without even thinking about it. It's just part of it's just part of you. You pick it up, you do it, you don't even think about it. It's just part of your daily routine now. Watch this.
A 2019 survey found that 40% of U.S. online users aged 18 to 22 years old reported feeling addicted to social media.
Now, look at that date right there. That's a 2019 survey. That's 5 years ago. What do you think that addiction to social media is today, right? It's 5 years. Is that before TikTok? TikTok's new. It's like the newest one, right? So this is what, before TikTok? So imagine with TikTok now. I think TikTok is like the number one. This ain't counting Twitter and stuff, or X. So imagine what that percentage is now today. Read on.
5% of respondents from that age group admitted the statement, "I am addicted to social media." Describe them completely.
Those are just the ones that just admitted to it, but you know a lot more is. All right? Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians 15:33. 1 Corinthians 15:33.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 33.
Uh-huh.
Be not deceived.
Don't be deceived. Don't deceive yourself thinking I got it under control. I'm just scrolling through. I'm just checking a few things here or there. No big deal. Don't be deceived.
Evil communications.
Not all social media at all times could be evil communications, because we can post classes and things like that that are actually productive. But are we doing that all the time when we're on social media? No. We're on there looking to buy time, waste time, so forth and so on. Evil communication,
Corrupt good manners.
It'll stop you when you on this social media and you addicted to it, where you always checking it, on it all day long. The things that you should be doing, you know, whether it's studying, whether it's watching class, whether it's sharing a class with somebody, spreading it, whatever it is, things that you should be doing, it'll corrupt you. And next thing you know, you wasted all this time just looking at article after just looking at the next thing after the next thing. Then when you seen all you can see on Facebook, then you go to TikTok. When you're done with that, you go to X. When you're done with that, you go to Instagram. And the next thing you know, you done killed a whole bunch of time. And I'll tell you a quick little story real quick. A few months back, we started a TikTok here in Bakersfield to, do little short videos, whatever. I didn't have it on my phone, so the IT team here said, download on your phone, do this, whatever, blah, blah. So I downloaded it, and I was like, everything on here is like, what, a minute, short, whatever. And so I'm on my phone, I'm like, oh, look at this. And then I'm scrolling, and I'm just doing this like a zombie. And I looked up, and an hour had went by. And I couldn't even tell you what I was watching on there. It was just, I can't even remember. It was just dumb videos of people like falling and tripping and just dumb stuff. And I'm just sitting there like a zombie doing this. And I looked, I said, man, an hour went by. I just wasted an hour looking at these little, you think because it's like a, 1 minute little clip that it's no big deal. But you do that, you keep doing this. Every time you do, that's another minute, another minute, another minute. And that just corrupted you on the things that you should be doing. You sitting there going through that. Then when you're done with that, you go to the next social media, right? You just keep going to one after another after another. Watch this. Go to Revelations chapter 12, verse 15. Revelations 12, verse 15.
Book of Revelations, chapter 12 and verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Now that water as a flood, that's lies. And any little thing that Esau can do to take you out of or the mindset or where you should be at, whether it's lies, whether it's social media, whether it's just whatever he can to get you thinking about worldly stuff and not on the mission at hand, which is waking up your brothers and sisters and teach them to repent and return to the laws of God. So whatever device he got, he's going to use that to keep you, look at this, look what's going on, keeping up with the next trend and this and that just whatever's going on or whatever he can get you trapped in, that's what he's going to do. Read on.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
It's a flood of information out there, Whatever you're looking for, you can find out there. You can waste a lot of time on social media, on the internet, so forth and so on. He cast all that out. Now, there's a lot of meat on the bone with the scripture, but I just want to use that right there to show you that Satan, he's putting out whatever he can to get you out of the sword right here. This is where we're supposed to be at. This is where our communication is supposed to be at. But whatever he can use to get you out of this, if it's the internet, if it's television, if it's social media, whatever it is, keeping up with the latest, who's the two rappers that was beefing that everybody's talking about? Drake, Kendrick Lamar. If he can get you to keep looking at that, and who won or who did this or who said this, who said that, and it's just gossip, right? It's just gossip. They ain't gonna do nothing. They over music talking about each other. You know what I mean? When you really look at it, it's corny to me. But anyway, if that's what they can keep pushing out there for you to keep looking at, whatever. Okay, that's what they're going to do. Meanwhile, you got so many things going on in the world right now. You got inflation. You got people can't afford houses. They're not talking about that. You worried about who won the beef between Drake and Kendrick, right? Just dumb stuff on social media, right? Picking a side. You picking a side of between two millionaires that don't give a damn about you. They're not worried about what you doing day to day. They just trying to make money. Let's go to Job 5:12.
The book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12.
Hold on. Let me get there. All right, let's go.
The book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty.
Now, the Lord saying he disappointeth the devices of the crafty, right? So originally, social media and YouTube and things like that, that was used to keep us trapped in the system, basically, keep us in the matrix. But guess what the Lord is doing? We're using these same social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, and all this stuff, and we're spreading the truth. We're spreading the gospel to our brothers and sisters so they can say, you know what? I need to repent. I need to keep the commandments. That's how the Lord is disappointing their devices. But with the Lord doing that, you can still get trapped in it. You start getting on there watching it, and you spending more time, doing that, and you realize you might have went on there like I did, right? I went on there to check it out to see, okay, we're going to be posting on here. This is how we're doing, how to log in, whatever. And next thing I know, I'm sitting there scrolling through video after video after video and wasted an hour like that, just that fast. So we got to disappoint their devices by using this. If we're going to do anything with this social media, let's use it for the truth and not just be on there wasting time. Now, I don't want to sit there and say that you can never be on there and never do anything and just, but you have to have a balance with what you're looking at. Is this something that you are just like addicted to? Here's how you can tell if you're addicted to it. I want y'all to think about this. When you wake up in the morning, is the first thing you grab is your phone? Just be honest with yourself, right? I'm not saying grab your phone because you're turning the alarm clock off, right? Because it's going off. Okay, but once you turn that alarm off, then what do? Do you hit that FB icon on your phone? Or do you hit that TikTok? Let me just see a couple videos before I get out of bed. Let me check out Instagram. Just let me see it real quick before I get out of bed. Do you do that? When you at work on your lunch break, first thing you do you grab your phone? Or when you're at your desk, do you grab your phone and be, the boss come back? Do you start going back to what you was doing? Do you do that? What you do when you grab your phone? Are you getting on social media? Before you go to bed, when you lay in bed at night, you're like, look, I got to get up early in the morning tomorrow. I got to get up at 4 or 5 or 6. So I'm going to lay down. I'm going to shut it down early tonight. So you in the bed, you're supposed to be asleep. Do you be having your phone like this in the bed? Scrolling up and down like this, looking at stuff. Next thing you know is midnight, and you got to get up in 4 or 5 hours because you done wasted this time on social media. Be honest with yourself. Does that happen? You probably or might have an addiction to social media and don't even know it. Let's go to Psalms 33.
You want to finish it out?
Oh, yeah, finish it out.
He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
So what it was used for originally was to keep us in this matrix. But our job is to help the Lord disappoint their devices, their social media. Use it to spread this truth. If you're going to be addicted to anything, be addicted to posting classes, sharing classes, and things like that. Not just trying to find out, what P. Diddy is doing now, or they're going to actually lock him up or put charges up against them, or Drake or Kendrick and all this other type of nonsense that means nothing. It means nothing. Let's go to Psalms 33. Psalms 33, and we're going to read verse 10.
The book of Psalms, chapter 33, and verse 10. The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught.
The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. You think social media is by accident? You think all these things is by accident? It started off with I remember the original, now I'm going to date myself here. The original social media, you got to be a little older to remember this. This is in the late 90s, or late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Late 90s, no, mid to late 90s, when they used to have the chat rooms. Who's old enough to remember the chat rooms where you log in remember AOL, America Online Chat, right? You'd be like, man, I'm chatting with somebody in New Jersey, in New York or something. I'm out here in California. Oh, this person's in Florida. And you in there just typing nonsense, and then you look at it, just all this stuff scrolling. Remember that? It's just scrolling. You can't even read nothing. And but you're like, man, I'm on there. I cannot believe I was on there. And all you do is just typing stuff. I'm here, and I'm from here. I'm from there. Where are you from? You can't even keep track of no conversation. That was the original, those chat rooms. Who remember those chat? Who's old enough to remember the chat rooms? Right? I think it was like Yahoo Chat, Party Lines. Yeah, that was the original. I got a couple people in here that's a little older like me. Yeah. Seasoned like me. Phone chats. All right, yeah. Those are all, that's not by accident. You know, as technology progressed, they started doing a little bit more and a little bit more. And said, you know what? These people, they're wasting a lot of time on these little phone chats and video chats. Before video, right? Phone chats and then the internet, little chat rooms and stuff like that. And then they started having chat rooms for specific things. You know, different hobbies and stuff and so forth and so on. I remember when I was young, when I was getting out of college, I would rush home and be like, let me see what they talk about on the chat rooms and stuff like that, right? Yeah, y'all remember these chat rooms. Yeah, that was the original. And then as the internet got better, they started producing these different apps like Black Planet and things like that. And they noticed people are wasting a lot of time on here. Did you start seeing advertisement? I remember before there was advertisement on these things. Then they started having advertisements, so forth and so on, right? See, I don't even remember, but YouTube used to not have advertisement, video, a commercial play in the middle of a video or something like that. I remember when it originally started. So read 33 one more time and 10.
Verse 10. The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught.
Because the counsel was, let's keep them trapped in this matrix state. What can we do for them to waste time and not think about the real issues of the world that's going on? What can we do to keep them asleep? You know what? Okay, MySpace is starting to get old. We're starting to see not as many people logged on. We got to have something new. This new Facebook thing? Let's push this Facebook out there. Let's open it up. Originally, it was just for college students. Let's go and open it up to everybody. Oh man, that's going good. What else? Let's try this Twitter thing where people can just have like a short little post and just put stuff up. All right, and we'll put celebrities on there so people see like the blue check or the blue mark and be like, oh, this person's on there. I can actually send them a message. Right? Then let's go. Then you start looking at the other stuff. Then it starts going to TikTok. And guess what? In a couple years, it'll be something else. It'll keep evolving. All for you to waste time, that evil communication. But the Lord said, read that again.
The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught.
So they did this, and some of our people was trapped in it. But it ain't going to last long. We waking our brothers and sisters up, and we got to make sure that we're not trapped in it.
He maketh the devices of the people of none effect.
It's going to be no effect on us if you stay in the spirit. If you do like bishops say, right? Study, praying, and applying what you learn, and you're not going to get trapped in that. You're going to realize, hey, this is a trap right here. Let me use this to spread the truth. Let me not get caught up in this. You start seeing the signs of you checking your phone and on social media a lot. You're going to start taking some of these things or putting in things in place to where you don't get caught in that trap. And then you see whether it's your wives or your children, you don't let them get caught in that trap as well. So we got to follow through with this right here. Read it one more time.
The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect.
So we got to make sure it's no effect on us and our brothers and sisters. We got to be, mission driven. What is the mission? What are we trying to do? We trying to spread this truth. So let's use this social media and the internet and things like that to spread the truth, but not to get caught in what P. Diddy is doing now. Or that's probably even old now. I don't hear nobody really talking about that. The newest thing, like I said, is the Drake and the Kendrick thing, right? Oh, that's old now too? Something else will pop up. Something else will see how fast it's something will pop up that'll pop up here real soon, right? Let's go to James 4:14. James 4:14.
The book of James, chapter 4 and verse 14. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow.
See, the reality is none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we got to focus on the right now. What's going on right now? And every moment you waste right now is a moment that you cannot get back. And because and for the fact that we can't get it back, and we don't know about tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to make it here tomorrow. A lot of us, leaving here is going to either go to work or school or things like that. We don't know what's going to happen when we go there. So all we got is right now. We don't know about tomorrow. Read.
For what is your life?
So at the end of it all, what is your life? What are you doing? What's your main purpose in life? Read on.
It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time.
This time that we have walking this earth is just but for a short time. We don't know how long that time is going to be. So are you going to spend that time, on social media all the time or watching television, just wasting time? How are you spending your time? Are you on classes? Are you checking out the classes 3 times a day, or in your leisure time, you're doing whatever you want to do because, you're trying to escape the reality of you may not like where your life is headed or at right now. What are you doing to occupy that time? But right now, your life is just but a short vapor. Read that again.
It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then vanished away.
And we got to give an account for how we spent this life that the Lord gave us. How did you spend it? Well, I spent it scrolling on the internet all day. I spent it, on social media, looking at this, worried about the latest trends and what's the TikTok challenges, the dances and stuff that everybody be doing and all. That's how you spend your time watching that. Our life is but a short vapor. What are you going to do in that time? Is it going to be productive? I pray that it is. Now, let's go to this next addiction that a lot of us have, all right? We'll get into one of the ones that most people put, which is sex and lust, right? A lot of people are addicted to sex and or lust. So let's open up with Proverbs. No. Let's go to Ephesians 5 and 5.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 5.
Hold on. Let me get there.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, hath an inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God.
So because a lot of us battle lust or sex addiction, right? We don't look at it as an addiction. But if you have laid down with more than one person, that's only happens because you're addicted to it. We were supposed to wait on that one person, marry that person, and be with them forever. But if you have another person, and a third, another person, then fourth, and fifth, and sixth, that's an addiction. And a lot of people fell for that. Why? Because to them, they can escape, a certain reality or feel good for the moment. They don't even think about the long-term consequences of it. It's just, I want to satisfy or scratch an itch. But just reading this scripture right here alone, if you're spiritual, if you want to make it to the kingdom, look what the Lord is saying. Read it again.
For this ye know.
So the Lord is saying, this we know for a fact. There's no wiggle room here.
That no whoremonger.
No whoremonger. That's a person having sex outside of marriage, right? No whoremonger what?
Nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, hath an inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God.
Just hearing that right there should scare you to the point, be like, you know what? I got to stop. I can't do this, whatever, because you have no chance of making it to the kingdom if you're wrapped up in whoredom, if you're wrapped up in sexual lust and that you can't control, right? If you wrapped up in that and you laying down with people, you're not married to them, the Lord is saying there's no way. Know this for certainty. You are not making it to the kingdom. That should scare you. If you wrapped up in that, that should scare you. Be like, you know what? I got to stop. Read verse 6.
Verse 6, let no man deceive you.
That let no man deceive you. That's a lot of, you so-called Christians and stuff. God loves you. He hates the sin. No. If you're in sin, he hates all abomination. That includes you. There is no, I'm working on it. I'll get it. No. You either fix it or you don't. So don't be deceived. Read on.
Let no man deceive you with vain words.
Don't let no man convince you that it's okay. It's just human nature. Blah, 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 blah. Making excuses for your addiction to sex and lust and things like that. It's not okay. It's a problem. It's an abomination. Read on.
For because of these things cometh the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience.
The Lord, now when you read verse 5 and 6, right? Starting off with whoremongers, right? The Lord said that's going to bring his wrath upon you. And the one thing about that, his wrath don't have to be when you die. You could be burning before you burn, right? You can go to that clinic, doc, burning before you actually burn, so that's part of the Lord's wrath too as well, or you can get something that you can't get rid of, and you got to hold on to that. Now you can repent, but do you want to get to that point of catching something or having something before you say, you know what, let me go ahead and stop. Let me go ahead and fix this. No, you have the opportunity to get it right now. Let's go to Sirach 23, 16 through 19. Sirach 23, 16 through 19. So we're dealing with the addiction of sex and lust.
The book of Sirach, chapter 23, verse 16. Two sorts of men multiply sin. And
Two sorts. So there's two sorts of men that multiply sin. Let's read about them.
And the third will bring wrath.
The third one will bring wrath. Okay.
A hot mind is as a burning fire.
Short temper, you get mad, you can't control yourself.
It will never be quenched till it be consumed.
You ever see people that get so mad they can't control themselves? They can't be quenched. Even if you try to talk reason to them, whatever, it's like, no, it's just you can't talk them out of it. Only thing can stop them is just time. Read on.
A fornicator.
Now, a fornicator, we talking about another one now. A fornicator what?
And the body of his flesh will never cease till he hath kindled a fire.
You see that? A fornicator. This is why the addiction to sex and lust has to be controlled. Because look what it says about a fornicator. In the body of his flesh will never cease till he have what? Kindled a fire. He won't stop. Can't stop. Now we read this and think this is men. No, this is women too. Just won't stop. That's why a lot of people have multiple sexual partners. And they keep repeating the same cycle, and they say, when you try to, or they want to get introduced to somebody, well, that person's not my type. Well, clearly your type ain't right. That's why you on the 5th, 10th, 15th, 20th person. But that's your type. Read on.
All bread is sweet to a whoremonger.
All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. It don't matter what that person is, because this person's not thinking of, I'm going to make this person my wife or my husband. I just want to have some fun right now. So if this person is missing a leg, an arm, anything, it don't matter. As long as if I can get it off right now, I'm going to get it off right now. That's the way this person is. All bread is sweet. It don't matter what it is. I got to have it. Think about that. This person is so wrapped up in their lust and their sexual desire that they don't care what the person look like, what they sound like, what they talk like, if they even in their right mind or not. They don't give a damn, because all bread is sweet. To who?
To a whoremonger.
To a whoremonger, a person who can't control themselves. All bread is sweet.
He will not leave off till he die.
This person right here won't stop till they die. Death is the only thing that can stop them. Now, do you want that to be you? Because, see, the problem with addiction is it always starts small. You think you got it under control. Then it gets to the point where it controls you, and this person will not stop until they actually die, because all bread is sweet. They might have a short life because of illness, sickness, disease, who knows? But this person won't stop till they die. They let the addiction kill them because they can't control themselves. Read on.
A man that breaketh wedlock.
Now, this particular man, he'll break wedlock. Why? He made a promise and an oath to God and to his wife that I'm going to be with this one person the rest of my life. But because he never fixed his addiction to sex and lust, he'll break that wedlock. He'll break that oath that he made. Why? Just for this temporary short pleasure right now. Read on.
Saying thus in his heart, who seeth me?
Who sees me? Nobody see me. I'm sneaking off in the corner. I'm doing this, doing that. Nobody can see what I'm doing. Read.
I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me.
I'm in this room. It's dark. I got a hotel. I got a telly, as they say, right? Don't nobody know I'm here. I paid with cash. I ain't put no card down. Can't be traced. Turn my phone on, do not disturb or off or whatever, right? Who knows I'm here? I'm just going to be here just for a quick while, and I'll be up out of here. Read on.
What need I to fear?
But what need do I need? What do I need to fear? I don't need to fear nothing. Nobody know I'm here. Read on.
The Most High will not remember my sins.
The Lord won't remember this. He'll forgive me, you know. It's just human nature, you know. This will be the last time. Won't do it no more after this. I just got to get out of my system, right? You'll convince yourself with anything. Read on.
Such a man only feareth the eyes of men.
But that particular man only fears the eyes of who?
Of men.
Of men. He don't fear God. If he feared God, he would never be there in the first place. This is a married man. Don't care. Read on.
And knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun.
He don't realize just because you're in a dark hotel room with your phone on Do Not Disturb and you paid with cash, he don't realize God sees through all that. He knows exactly what you're doing. You can't hide from him. Read on.
Beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts.
The Lord knows all your secret parts. He sees everything clearly. You're not going to be able to escape that judgment, which we read earlier in Ephesians 5:5, right? You have no part, no inheritance in the kingdom because you can't control your lust, right? And I want people to understand, because a lot of people say, you know, I'm ready to get married, you know, this, that, and the third, you know, I'm burning, whatever. Understand something. If you don't control your sexual addiction, just because you get married, that won't turn away. You might satisfy an itch for a little while, but eventually your wife or your husband won't be enough. You'll be looking outside because you never learned to control that spirit. So you got to learn to control that spirit of your sexual lust and desires that may lead you to porn, may lead you to messing with prostitute, whatever. These women out here in the world, you got to control that before, and it's for the women too. You got to control that as well before you get married so that you can be married and be faithful in that marriage. Now, a lot of times you read these scriptures because the Bible's written in a masculine tone, right? It talks about he, him, you know, from the man, you know, perspective. But this is dealing with women too. And here's one of the things that I learned doing research is that women are more sexually active and have more, now in today's time, women have more sexual partners than the men do this day. And it's backed by research. And let's pull up this article right here. Look at this article where we're going to talk about, is this the first one I want right here? IT. Let's pull this article up. And can you make it bigger so we can see? Go ahead, officer. Read that.
U.S. women loosening up sexually, study shows.
Now, this was written in 2018, so just what do y'all think in the comments? What do y'all think? Y'all think that this got worse or you think this got better in the last, 6 years? What y'all think, right? Y'all think this, do you think that women are getting even more, or getting more and more sexually liberated, as they would say, now? Or do you think that they are getting better now? What you think? With more access, right? Let's read this.
Health Day. American women are becoming more frisky in the bedroom, new research reveals. In a study of sexual trends in the United States, researchers at the University of Utah found that promiscuity is rising for women and declining for men.
Wait. Say that again?
Promiscuity is rising for women and declining for men.
How can that be? How can it be that women are more promiscuous now, but not men? It's because women are, most of the women are sleeping with a few of the men. And how do we know that? Because all women want the same type of men, for the most part, right? They got this show on YouTube. It's Pop the Balloon. Have you guys ever seen it, heard of that, Pop the Balloon and Find Love? When you watch this, I'm not going to pull the clip or nothing like that. When you watch this Pop the Balloon or Find Love, right? Do you guys ever pay attention to what happens when the people walk out? When there's men, right? Let's say it's 10 men and they got a balloon in their hand, right? And a woman walks out. About 90% of the time, none of the men pop the balloon until the woman actually says something. Every now and then, a woman may walk out and, one person will pop or whatever. But the men typically will at least hear what the woman has to say. Let me see what she's saying. It may not be my particular type or whatever, the way she dressed or whatever, but I know that the way she dressed and all that, I could change that if that's what I want. but let me see if she got a brain. Let me see what she's talking about. Then once she starts talking, then that's when you see the men start popping their balloon. Now, these are worldly men, right? These are worldly men. Now, change that to the flip side. How many of you guys see when the women, it's like 8 or 9 of those women, when the men walk out, what do? Half of them pop the balloon. Pop, 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 pop. And the brother's like, oh, they shooting in here. What's going on? Right? You know, they popping the balloon. He get up there, confidence is shook, right? He's done. At that point, he see 2 people who got their balloon. One of them's in a wheelchair. The other one, you know, they cockeyed or something. And he said, these my choices? You know, his voice started getting shaky and everything else. Y'all seen the show. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but you know what I mean. These women, they pop that balloon. Why? Because women, their own worldly women, and some women in here too that haven't fully converted, they're concerned on the outward appearance. I've seen, you know, women will say, well, I didn't like the way he was dressed. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. You can't get with him and talk to him and change his wardrobe? Right. Like, you eliminate a man for that? The last one I seen, a brother was a police officer, a deputy sheriff. And when he said that career, I mean, every one of them popped that balloon. He didn't get not one. And they was like, I can't mess with the police. Any woman with that mindset is I don't want to say there's no hope for her, because, you know, people can repent. But if you a grown woman and I don't know the man or like that, but you disqualify him because he's a deputy sheriff, which is a good job, good career, good benefits, all that, and you disqualify him for that, your mind is you're too far gone, you know. Anyway, man, y'all got to reel me back in. Y'all getting me all off, man. Where am I at? Where are we at in this article? Pull the article back up, man. Man, I ain't gonna finish this class. Dang it. Where do we leave off at?
We're at the number of women.
Okay, go ahead.
The number of women who've had sex with more than 15 partners.
15. The number of, 15? A whole teenager. 15 of them. Has what?
15 partners has increased over the past few decades from 3% to 7%.
So it more than doubled. Now, this was 2018. What do you think that number has done from then till now? Man, 15 partners? Now, you can repent. You know, those of you that may have fell in that, whatever, you can repent. But let's just move on. Read on.
The opposite is true of men, who are having sex with fewer partners than they did in previous years, the researcher said.
Look at that. You see that? That's the opposite is true for men. That means only the top percentage of men are those that fit that criteria of your certain height, certain shape, certain whatever. Like, you reach those things right there, those men are sleeping with all the women. If a man's 6 foot tall or taller, got a decent job, in shape, those are the guys that's sleeping with all the women. And I didn't realize this because I've always been tall, I see like the men I never understood this. I see the men on that Pop the Balloon show that be like 5'7", 5'8". They are going through life playing it on legendary difficulty, right? If you're a man, look, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be funny or nothing like that, but salute to y'all brothers that's like 5'9" and shorter, right? Salute. Because y'all are going through life on legendary difficulty mode. Because the women out there, the sister there was 5 foot flat. He was 5'9", and she was like, "Ooh, I like him taller than that." And the lady was like, "You 5 foot." A whole 5 foot, and he's 5'9". Yeah, but I like him taller than that. So the men on there, you a little shorter, y'all go through life. It's rough for y'all. I ain't gonna even front. They don't give y'all like no chance. No chance. Now I see why they got that. What is it, the short man what is it, complex, whatever, where they be extra tough? I see why now. Anyway, see, y'all gotta reel me back in, man. Y'all see I'm going, okay. All right, I see you give me this. Okay, reel me back in, y'all. So, Let's go to the next thing. So more women are having sex than men. Let's go to the next article real quick. Okay, go ahead and read that real quick. I see you guys. Go ahead and read that real quick.
The study was led by Nicholas Wolfinger, a professor in the university's Department of Family and Consumer Studies.
Okay, read on.
He and his team analyzed national data on more than 30,000 people compiled between 1989 and 2016.
Read.
Other trends of promiscuity emerged. Younger Americans are having sex with fewer people than older generations, the study showed. Those men and women...
Okay, go ahead, you're right.
Those men and women who reported being more promiscuous were more likely to be well-educated.
Wait. Those what?
Those men and women who reported being more promiscuous were more likely to be well-educated.
So contrary to popular belief that it's the people in the hood and the ghetto that's sleeping around everything else, which they are too, but those who have reported to having more sexual partners are those that are well-educated. All right, now, give me the next thing real quick. It says the well-educated. So let's see who's being educated. Let's see if it matches up with the research. Give me the next thing. Let's look at this. Go scroll to the top so we can, see where we're getting this from. Fast facts, women of color in higher education. Oh, let's see about this. Now, the first one we see right there, the number of white women, 39%, getting an associate or bachelor's degree by the age of 29 is nearly twice as high as black women. So we get that. I'm not concerned about them. I'm concerned about our people. So let's look at the second one.
Second bulletin point. Among black students in higher education, women are more likely than men to earn degrees. Black women...
We're talking about the higher educated are the ones that's more sexually active. Read on.
Black women get 64.1% of bachelor's degrees, 71.5% of master's degrees.
That's advanced degrees right there. These are all highly educated people that's getting these degrees.
And 65.9% of doctoral, medical, and dental degrees.
So what is this saying? We sending our daughters off to college and they being sexually liberated. They're getting ran through. Why? Because just dealing with black women, they go to college 2 to 1 for every black man. So now, if you're that black man in college on campus, what are you? You're a minority on that campus, but you are highly sought after. So that one guy is messing with multiple girls, so they getting ran through. And then if they go to these colleges where it's very few of us black men there, guess who's running through them? Them white boys is running through them. Esau is running through our sisters. All the other nations is running through them because they get there, they leave home, and they're finally free. They're on their own, and they're going out there, and they've been very, very promiscuous. That's why you see women on, like I said, on that dating show, they're popping a balloon real quick because I'm only dealing with this, and that's what they used to. And they're getting ran through. Let's go to the scriptures. Let's go to Proverbs 6:23.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 23.
Hold on. Okay.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life.
So we got to use this Bible as our guide, right? The lamp. It's the lamp. It's our light. It's supposed to lighten up our walk in this on earth right now. We got to use this as our light for everything. We can't get trapped in all the other traps that's in front of us of sexual liberation and I can do this, I can do that, my body, my all that nonsense that they say, right? Don't be deceived by that. Read on.
Verse 24. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman.
So you know what? We got to use this because our eyes will tell us that's a beautiful woman right there. But what you don't realize is that woman's been ran through. That woman done been through a lot. You're just another number for her. So we got to watch out because what do? They'll use nice words to compliment you, make you feel good about yourself, and you'll fall for the trap. Read on.
Verse 25. Lust not after her beauty.
A lot of us men got caught up with that. We lust after the beauty of a woman. We wait or don't even really inquire and see what her mind's at. What is she really about? What is she doing? We don't even look into that. Read on.
Lust not after her beauty in thine heart,
Uh-huh.
neither let her take thee with her eyelids.
So what does this tell you? This tells you we always think that men are the predators. Men are the ones that's hunting down for women and stuff like that. No, the Lord is telling you women do it too. A lot of these women do it too. Look at the female rappers of today. Look how they dress. Look how they carry themselves. Look at the subject matter, right? What is the one, Big Red, where she said her butt is brown? Mm-hmm. Well, I can't even repeat everything she says, right? Her butt is brown, and her other area is, whatever. That's the lyrics today. These are the women. This is not like my era where we had MC Light, where she even talked about she wanted to rough it. But, like they had at least some subject matter back then. Now it's just all explicit content, right? Read on.
For by means of a whorish woman.
By means of a whorish woman. You got caught in her eye, the way she, her makeup, the way she talk and all that type of stuff. Her body, the fake body today, right? These women are like Build-A-Bears, right? That's to the modern woman today is a Build-A-Bear, is a science project because of the BBL and the breasts and the tummy tuck and all these other type of things. They're a science project. Build-A-Bear. Put the stuff in where they want it at, right? Read on.
A man is brought to a piece of bread.
You brought down to a piece of bread. You weak, you soft. You got no spine, no back. You letting this woman, dictate how you live your life because you can't control your lust, your sexual lust and desires and stuff, right? Your addiction to sex and all the things that come with it. What verse you at?
Still at 26, sir.
Uh-huh.
And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life.
You see that? The adulteress, the woman, she'll hunt for what?
For the precious life.
You understand, you're precious. You're not supposed to be giving yourself to any and everybody. You're supposed to be exclusive. A woman should have to earn you to be, for you to be their husband. They got to earn that. You're precious. But you give yourself up to any whorish woman, whatever, and all that type of stuff because your addiction, your lust. You just can't control yourself. You got to overcome your lust for sex and different things like that. That pertains to that, whoredom. All right, let's go to Job. We're going to get some solutions for that. Let's go to Job 31. Job 31:1.
The book of Job, chapter 31, verse 1. I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid?
That's where it starts at. That's where your sexual addiction and lust comes from. It comes with your eyes. You got to see it first. You go through your normal day, you work, you don't pay attention. But once something crosses your eye, if you can't control your eyes, then it's like you see it, then now you got to follow it, then you got to do that, and then, eventually enough, you'll start saying something to them because you can't control yourself. So you got to make a covenant with your eyes. Read it again.
I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid?
You got a wife or you're looking for a wife. You got to make a covenant. I'm not going to be looking at this woman in lust. I need to find out what she's about because if I choose this woman, it's going to be for the right reasons to make her my wife, and then build that way. But not just, she got to look at her body or this, that, and the third. I just need to sample that. No, that's whoredom right there. So you got to make a covenant with your eyes. Why your eyes? Let's go to Matthew 5:27.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 27.
And then we're going to read 27 and 28.
Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after, whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
You see that? That's why Job said he made a covenant with his eyes, because Christ said, just to look on a woman and lust after her, you've already committed adultery. You've already started the process. You already there. And what do we learn in Ephesians 5? No whoremonger has any inheritance in the kingdom. That should scare you. You one of those brothers or sisters with a wandering eye, you always looking, you see, oh, dang, and in your mind you're thinking, man, that she or he, whatever it is, right? It's already started in you. You got to control it. It's an addiction. You got to control that. You got to make a covenant with your eyes that I'm not going to look at those things right there. Let's go to 2 Peter 2. 2 Peter chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 12.
The book of 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 12. But these, as natural brute beasts.
Now that's the subject right there. Brute beast. Think about this. Are you a brute beast? A brute beast is a wild beast. Can't be controlled, can't be tamed. Right? But these are natural brute beasts. Read.
Made to be taken and destroyed.
Only fit to be taken and destroyed because you can't control yourself. You're a brute beast.
Speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption.
Now, these brute beasts are going to perish in their own corruption because they can't control themselves. They're wild animals. Now, let's drop down to verse 14. Watch what some characteristics of these brute beasts. Watch this.
Verse 14, having eyes full of adultery.
You see that? If you can't control yourself, you're a brute beast. You're a wild animal is what the Lord is saying. Having what?
Having eyes full of adultery.
All you can do, you can't get enough, right? Right? Won't leave off till you die because all bread is sweet. You're a brute beast. Instead of saying, you know what, I done had 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 partners and it's not enough. Let me stop. Let me, change the way I'm doing things. Let me repent from this. You keep going. You're a brute beast. Read.
And that cannot cease from sin.
And you just can't stop sinning. You can't. Why? You're addicted to it. And you've done nothing to fix that behavior. Read.
Beguiling unstable souls.
And you'll try to convince other people that it's okay. God don't really, he understands my heart. He knows my heart and all that type. Whatever you can do to tell yourself that it's okay. Beguiling other souls.
In heart, they have exercised with covetous practices.
And that's what it comes down, is covetous. You can't settle down with one person because I got to try that. I got to try that. Why? Because you just want, you covetous of that. I need that. I need that. I need that. I just can't get enough of it. Covetous.
Cursed children.
And you'll end up being cursed children because you're a brute beast. Just can't control yourself. Eyes full. What does it say right there? Having eyes full of adultery. That's all you could think about. You can't control yourself. Let's go to Colossians. Colossians 3 and 5. If that's you, if you fell into that at one point, it's not the end for you. You can't escape it, but it's going to take work. And it's going to start with this. This is one of the things you got to start with right here.
The book of Colossians chapter 3 and verse 5. Mortify, therefore, your members which are upon the earth.
You got to mortify your members which are upon the earth. The things that's causing you to sin, you got to find a way to kill that, destroy that. Not physically, right? But you got to kill the spirit behind that that's forcing you to, they're not forcing you, but having you keep falling into that sin over and over and over again. If it's your eyes, make that covenant like Job said with his eyes, right? To not look upon a woman. If it's your eyes, your problem, you got to fix that. You got to pray on that. You got to, study, stay in the word, meditate on that. Occupy your time with those things so you're not occupying your time with evil. Read.
Fornication, uncleanness.
You see that? The first thing, one of the members that we got to mortify is fornication, right? We got to clean that up. We got to fix that. We got to have, in order for us to further pushing this truth and building a strong nation, the recipe is you got to have what you call a nuclear family. That's a man and a wife raising children in the laws, statutes, and commandments that God laid out before us. That's the only way we're going to have a healthy, strong nation. It starts there. So it starts with a man, a wife in order, right? In God's order, and then teaching their children. Not a man having a child with this woman and another one over here. You got 2 or 3 different baby mamas or 2 or 3 different baby fathers. That's not how you rebuild a strong nation. You got to mortify those members, that fornication that causes us to be in a condition that we in today. Read on.
Inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry.
All those different spirits right there. We got to mortify that. We got to find a way to destroy that and end that so we're not wrapped up in that no more. That's how we can avoid and get out of the sexual lust and addictions that a lot of us have been plagued with and have never addressed it. We just sweep it, under the rug and, I'll deal with it or don't nobody know. I just keep it between myself and the Lord. No, you got to fix that. Get counsel on it, fix it, whatever you got to do, because that's something that will take you out quick. Let's go to, I'm not going to be able to finish this. Let's go to, Should I do lion or drugs? Let's do another one. Let's do drinking and drugs next, all right? Let's do drinking and drugs. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 10:19. We're going to go to drugs and alcohol.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry.
So listen, it's not that alcohol is in itself is a sin. You can have some. But look what the Lord is saying when you have that alcohol at a feast. At a feast. How do you know if you're addicted to alcohol? I'm going to give you a couple of things. Here in California, well, specifically where I'm at, I'm not sure if it's all of California, but where I'm at, they stopped selling alcohol, I think it's at 2 in the morning, and then they can't sell it again till 7 in the morning. 6 in the morning. How you know that, officer? You threw that up quick. Corrected me real quick. We all got to pass. So look, they stopped selling alcohol here in California at 2 in the morning and all the way till 6 in the morning. And I work night shift and day shift, switch back and forth. And I remember going, like, stopping at the store in the morning, getting gas and stuff like that. And I would see people waiting at the store, these working men, with uniforms on and things like that. They're just standing at the cash register. I'm like, why are they standing here? And I'm getting my gas or whatever. And then I see as soon as 6 hit, then they go to the register and then buy them what we call out here a tall boy or personal, right? A little personal thing, a little Henny or something like that, right? And that's 6 in the morning. So think about this. If you're somebody, now they probably just got off work, right? And for them, even though it's 6 in the morning, they got off of work, so it's their evening or whatever. But that's the first thing you get as soon as you get off from work. Not let me go see how my family's doing because I've been at work all night. Is my family safe? No, I'm going to go, before I go home, I'm going to stop at the store and get me a tall boy and a personal or whatever, right? And I'm going to sip on that, and then I'm going to go to sleep or whatever, right? If that's the first thing you're thinking of when you get off from work is I got to get alcohol, or even if you come, you with us, you come on a feast day, and it's like soon as I wish they get through serving the food and stuff, I'm ready for them to pass the drinks out or something like that. If that's on your mind and you need that to have a good time, that's when it becomes you're addicted to it. That's when you can't control yourself. And it starts small. It starts real small. So the Lord is telling us, read that again.
A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry.
So wine can cheer you up when it's reasonable, when it's drunk in moderation. And we learn that. Let's go to Sirach 31. Sirach 31. And we'll start at verse 27.
The book of Sirach, chapter 31 and verse 27. Wine is as good as life to a man.
So wine is as good as life to a man. So there's nothing wrong with having a little, drink here, and there. Right? But read on.
If it be drunk moderately.
You see that? If it be drunk moderately. You start mixing, I start off with the beer to loosen up, then I got shots and I got this, and you keep on drinking all, until you think you good, or what is it? I got a good buzz or whatever. Nah, that's not the way it's supposed to be. If it's drunk moderately, not every day, not all day, every day, and I can't wait till the weekend. I'm going to drink from the time I'm off on Friday till I go back to work on Monday. No, that's not drinking moderately. Read on.
What life is then to a man that is without wine?
So if you never have any wine or whatever, what life is that? It's okay to have some, to loosen up and, to relax a little bit. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. In moderation. Read on.
For it was made to make men glad.
Right, it was made to make men glad. There's a use for it. Not to be like this all day, every day, where you're addicted to it. Read on.
Wine measurably drunk and in season.
So wine measurably drunk, meaning you're watching. How much am I drinking? I had a glass. Oh, this is my second. I'm stopping here. Measurably drunk, right? You want to get merry, not drunk. All right? So wine measurably drunk and what?
And in season.
At the right time. At the right time. Not all day, every day, but at the right time. Occasions, feast days, things like that, right? Read on.
Bringeth gladness of the heart.
That brings gladness of heart.
And cheerfulness of the mind.
Loosens you up. You're having a good time. You're enjoying yourself, but you're not drunk. And at this state right here, you're still sober-minded. You still can control yourself. You still can think. You still can talk. You still can function normally, right? That's where you gotta. That's where you gotta keep it at. Read on.
But wine drunken with excess.
Now you got to the point now where you got a good buzz, right? Now you may be slurring some of your words. You can't react as fast or as quick as you normally, or you can't think as clearly as you used to. Wine drunken with excess will lead to that,
maketh bitterness.
You ever
of-
see people that get mad when they start drinking too much and stuff? Now they want to get argumentative. Now they tough. They got alcohol muscles and stuff like that. They always want to fight. You see the videos, right?
maketh bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreling.
And then there comes the fight and everything else because they didn't drunk too much. And then nowadays you see, here comes the shooting, right? Or the stabbing, because they started off drinking, and next thing you know, they got to the point where they had excess and got drunk off of it. Read on.
Drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool.
You see that? Drunkenness increases the rage of. You're a fool for getting drunk, for start with. But being a fool is one thing, but then when you're drunk, it increases the what?
The rage of a fool till he offend.
Till when?
Till he offend.
He'll do something stupid and offend somebody. There's you guys probably seen when people say, you know what, I didn't really mean what I said or done last night, whatever, I apologize. You offended somebody. It's too late at that point because you let the alcohol control you.
It diminisheth strength and maketh wounds.
It diminishes strength, right? Because when you drink that alcohol and you get drunk, you start thinking you could fight and beat anybody up. Next thing you know, you laid all the way out, stomped out, missing. He stomped out, probably, maybe lost a tooth in a fight or something like that. Wake up the next day like, what the hell happened? Next thing you know, then now, it'll be on World Star or something like that. It's all out there for everybody to see, your foolishness. Read that again.
Drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminisheth strength and maketh wounds.
It'll make your wounds, you can get the DUIs, things like that, or you could wound somebody else. So that just drinking too much, in excess, not having it under control can lead to destruction to yourself or to somebody else. That's an addiction. It starts off small. I just had a drink, just relaxing, and the next thing you know, it becomes a habit to where you're doing it all day, every day, and you just don't leave off until you got to get drunk at this point, right? And you call it, well, I built up a tolerance. No, you didn't build up a tolerance. You just addicted to it. Let's go to Ephesians 5, 14 through 18.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 14. Wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light.
Now, you got to wake out of that mindset of, it's just, I'm having a few drinks. I'm in the comfort of my own home, or I'm doing this, whatever, but you're doing it all day, every day. You got to wake out of that thought process. You sleep. That's not the way we're supposed to be spending our time. Read.
See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
Don't be a fool in this world. Be wise. Understand that our life is but a vapor. Remember we read that earlier? We don't have a long time on this earth. We got to make our time count. So we got to make sure that we're working for the Lord. Be wise. Don't be a fool. Doing what? Read.
Redeeming the time.
Be aware of the time. Be aware of the time that you're in. These are the last days. You want to go into judgment saying I spent and wasted a lot of my time drinking or getting high, just so you can escape the conditions that we're in today. The conditions we're in today is for us to repent. We're supposed to feel this affliction so we can repent to get up out of this mess that we're in. Not let me drink the pain away or let me get high and get that out, get the pain away through that. No, read on.
Because the days are evil.
Because these days are evil, and the only way to escape it is by repentance, becoming that new creature.
Wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is.
You have to understand, what is the will of the Lord? Is it for me to be high and drunk all day and waste my time doing that? No. Read on.
And be not drunk.
You see that? The Lord is telling you, part of your awakening is don't be drunk with what?
With wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit.
So if you want to be drunk off anything, be drunk off the Spirit of the Lord, which is standing these scriptures, studying this, applying this, teaching this every step that you got, every step that you can, you do that. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 12.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health.
Now, these are those that resort to the Mary Jane, the weed, the chronic, I don't know what the new name is now. I'm sure they got a new name for it. Za, you said? Za? Damn. Excuse me. Do y'all know for sure? Because y'all,
Yes,
Zah?
sir.
Okay, they're resorting to that. All right. So y'all, this is for the brothers that resort, or sisters, right? This is for the sisters too. I always say to men, no, the women be wrapped up in this too as well. Wisdom of Solomon 16 and verse 12.
For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health.
Because what's the excuse everybody say when they're smoking weed? I got this condition, I got that condition, it calms me down, it does this, it does that. No. When you really peel back the layers, they doing it because they like the feeling of being high. And that's just the excuse they tell themselves so they don't feel bad about it. Nah, you want to feel high. That's just what it is. Be honest with yourself. Read it again.
For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health.
So you talking about you doing it for your health, that's not going to give you good health. Not at all. You're not going to get it from that weed right there. Now, I'm not a doctor. I know some people say, well, they prescribe this, that, and the third. But you know if you're doing it because you want that feeling of being high. You know why you're doing it. If that's the case, why was you doing it when you was a teenager and younger, but you're still doing it now? Nah, you know what you're trying to do. Let's go to Sirach 38 and 9.
There's a little more on that.
Oh, go ahead.
But thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things.
You see that? If you really got that medical condition or issue, whatever, then you need to go to the Lord's word. Let that heal you right there. Because a lot of it is just your mindset thinking that you need this. You know, you really don't. Let's go to Sirach 38. And let's go to verse 9.
The book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 9. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent.
So if you're really truly sick and you're saying, I got to do this, the only thing that's going to get me right, the Lord is saying, in your sickness, be not negligent in what?
But pray unto the Lord.
Start there, praying to the Lord. You're reading his word, you study, you're meditating in it. Pray to the Lord and what?
And he will make thee whole.
He will make you whole. Not that weed, not that Zah, not that chronic, not that what's the sticky green. That ain't going to make you whole. What's going to make you whole is the Lord right here. He will make you whole. Go to him and entreat him. Say, Lord, I repent. I want to repent for all my addictions, all my sickness, all my sin. Make me whole. Make me to not have to depend on these things. Whatever. You got to pray. You got to entreat. You got to ask him about these things. All right. So let's wrap this up. I have to cut a lot of this out. So I don't want to end this class without giving you guys some solutions. So let's get some solutions. All right. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7:29. Ecclesiastes 7:29. And we're going to run through these pretty quick, y'all, because my time is, I'm going too long. Come on.
The book of Ecclesiastes 7, verse 29. Lo, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions.
So don't think that you're just different and you can't get right. No, the Lord made you upright. The problem is we sought out many inventions, whether it is social media that we get addicted to, whether it's sex, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, or any other sin, lying, stealing, whatever. We sought those inventions out. The Lord made us upright. Get 1 Corinthians 10:13. All right? We sought those inventions out. We sought these different sins out. It wasn't that the Lord made us that way. No, he made us upright. We were supposed to be right. 1 Corinthians 10:13.
1 Corinthians 10, verse 13.
And then Matthew 26 after that.
There hath no temptation taken you, but such as common to man.
Yeah, all these things that I went through today, and there's many other things people are addicted to, but it's common. A lot of people are addicted to these things. You're not the only one that's addicted to social media or sex or drugs or alcohol. You're not the only one. That's a common thing. Read on.
But God is faithful.
But the Lord is faithful with our sin, with the condition that we're in, if we really, truly repent.
Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
That temptation you have to continue in that addiction, the Lord is saying, he's not going to put that temptation on you so heavy that you can't overcome it. You can overcome it. There's ways to escape. Read.
But will with that temptation,
when you're tempted,
also make a way to escape.
He'll give you a way out where you can say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Let me go to work. Let me go to sleep like I was supposed to. Let me not drink this drink right here. Let me just focus on the things I need to focus on. There's a way out. Somebody may call you, maybe something going on at the school. It could be anything going on, a flyer mission, whatever that you could be doing instead of doing the things that you wrapped up in. Read on.
Wherefore, my dearly beloved, Flee from idolatry.
So we got to flee from that idolatry. You know, when you are in these different addictions, you're putting yourself above the Lord. You're saying, I want to feel a certain way. I want to do a certain thing, and I'd rather do that than do what the Lord says. Where we at? Where you finished that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 13 and 5.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13.
I mean, the second.
2 Corinthians, yes, sir. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether you be in the faith.
We have to constantly examine ourselves to see, are we in this faith? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? That examine ourselves, a lot of people just say, oh, I'm examining. When you examine yourself, you got to put yourself under the microscope. And it starts with honesty. Are you being honest with yourself? Am I really looking at everything I'm doing day to day? And does it line up with what the Lord want me to do? Am I really examining myself? That's where it starts at. You got to examine yourself. Read on.
Prove your own selves.
You got to prove to yourself, no, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Yeah, I spent a little time here, but you know what? I can be better. You got to prove yourself, prove your actions. Is it right?
Know ye not your own selves?
You got to know yourself. You got to know your weaknesses. You got to know your strengths, because you can't fix a weakness without knowing it's a weakness for you.
How that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates.
The only people who can't truly examine yourself is if you reprobate. If you cool with the condition you in, you're like, it's no big deal. It's not that big deal. I'm all right, whatever. You're a reprobate at that point. Give me Matthew 26:41, and then we're going to go 2 more scriptures after that.
Matthew 26, verse 41. Watch and pray.
The Lord is warning us. We got to watch and pray.
That ye enter not into temptation.
That you don't enter into the temptation or the addictions that you are suffering, that you're willingly putting yourself through. Watch and pray. Why is that?
The spirit indeed is willing.
Because your spirit is willing to do right. Should be if you're here listening to this class, right?
But the flesh is weak.
But sometimes the flesh is weak. That's why you got to watch and pray that you don't fall into one of your weaknesses. All right? You got to stay in the spirit. 2 more scriptures. Give me Sirach 38:24 and then 1 Corinthians 16 after that. 2 more scriptures, all right? 2 more scriptures. Sirach 38.
The book of Sirach 38, verse 4.
38:24.
24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure.
When do we fall into our addictions? When we got free time, right? When you at work, you on the clock, you're not, you might be that far, hopefully you're not that far gone where you doing it at work, but most of the time we fall into those traps of our addiction when we have free time. So it says, what did the Lord say?
The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure.
So if you want to be a learned man, when you have leisure time, that's when you dedicate even more of your time to the Lord. Read on.
And he that hath little business shall become wise.
You're not worried about everything else going on in the world, what happened with this star or that famous person or this new song came out or this movie. You're not worried about those things. Your business is, in my leisure time, I'm building myself up. I'm studying, I'm praying, applying. Why do you think Bishop keeps saying that over and over and over again? Study, pray, apply. That's the recipe. That's the recipe to success right there. Last scripture, 1 Corinthians 16, verse 15 and 16. 1 Corinthians 16.
1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 15.
15 and 16, yes.
I beseech you, brethren, ye know the house of Stephanus, that it is the first fruits of Achaia.
Watch this.
And that they have addicted.
They what?
Addicted themselves to the ministry of the saints.
So if you're going to be addicted to anything, addict yourself to these scriptures. Addict yourself to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Addict yourself to following the will of God. Be addicted to having the fear of the Most High. Addict yourself to that. Be like them. Read on.
That ye submit yourselves unto such, and to every one that helpeth with us, and laboreth.
Go ahead.
That's it, sir.
Read it again.
That ye submit yourselves unto such.
So be addicted to this ministry and submit yourself to this ministry.
And to every one that helpeth with us.
And if you see somebody doing the same mission, spreading this truth, you get with them and you build with them and you help them. And that's what we got to be addicted to. Addicted to serving the Lord. Addicted to keeping these commandments. With that, I pray y'all got something out of this class. I would ask for questions and comments, but my time is too long. So if you enjoyed this class, which I pray you did if it edified you, continue to watch Daily Bread. Watch the next classes coming up. We do classes 3 times a day. Support the Booster Club. And I ask you, please, I'm Officer Ophir out of Bakersfield, California. Can you please put the QR code up there? I have other classes too as well. We got a Facebook page, a TikTok, all that stuff. If you can click that or scan that QR code, subscribe to our channels, right? Support us. I know you guys heard of Los Angeles, California. I know you heard of San Diego, California. I know you heard of Sacramento, California. But we are Bakersfield, California. We're in the central part of California. We got to spread the truth here. We need your help. We can't do it alone. If you guys could just take a quick little minute, subscribe to our channels, scan that QR code, subscribe to our YouTube, our Facebook, our TikTok, our Instagram. Everything I told you about being addicted to the social media. Be addicted to spreading the truth. Help us on our social media, though. Be addicted the right way, all right? So show the Lord some repentance by clicking on that QR code and spreading this truth. With that, y'all, Israel, it's a pleasure and an honor to be on Daily Bread. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless you.